Hey everybody, Mobius1 here, and I am back. It has been a really long break since I posted a video, my last video, with that contest, which was over way quicker than I expected it to be, so we're going to have to do another one of those at some point in the future. But for now, I know my episode 9 talking about the health bars, ham bars, health action in mind. I know due to a copyright claim that video has been blocked, and that is definitely really high on my priority list of videos to remake, because that's a lot of really important information. But for now, I'm just kind of grinding solo missions to get some credits in the bank. And I figured I might as well take this opportunity to make kind of a follow-up video to my most popular video, which was the Chat About Jedi that I did, episode 6. That video has by far been the most popular of the Emu videos that I've uploaded, and I get a lot of messages and a lot of comments talking about the bounty hunters, especially one in particular wanted me to make a video just talking about the guy that I made a note that infiltrated my guild. So, I mean, why not, while I'm just out here killing things, getting money, talk about a few of the bounty hunters that attacked me when I was a Jedi back in the good old days. It's hard to even remember how long it was before the first bounty hunter attacked me. I think I might have been on Tatooine, grinding with my guild. I think. I know my guild had a city on Talos, Zagern with an X, if anyone was on Nardis, who happens to be watching this, might remember that city, maybe not. But, I'm trying to think where we did our grinding. We did a lot of fighting on Dathomir, Dantooine, which is where I am now, for those of you watching wondering why the grass is pink or purple. This is Dantooine. And, I think the first bounty hunter that ever ganked me killed me, because I remember being very upset. And you kinda have to take that as being part of the class. I mean, if you want to be an overly paranoid Jedi, you're constantly watching your radar. I know I think one Jedi in my guild actually played his game like this. And just left his mini-map really large on the screen, and anytime he saw another player approaching, he would just stop what he was doing and get out of dodge. I wasn't that paranoid. I would actually pay attention to the mini-map, though. Hold on one sec. So yeah, I mean, paying attention to the minimap is really important, but it's also a little misleading because the Jedi doesn't actually know, and I mentioned this in the last video, the Jedi doesn't know when a bounty hunter has their mission. So a bounty hunter who can openly attack you as a Jedi will look like a regular player on your minimap. So you're always, when you're out fighting, you're watching your minimap for players that are coming straight towards you. Like if you're always in the middle of the map, so if you see a dot that comes off the edge of the map and is coming straight, whoa, that was kind of weird. Look at that. I couldn't do that again if I tried. Who is that? Fascia. You scared the... Oh, she disappeared. That was really creepy. I'm glad I caught that on film, because that was like some Jedi shit right there. Anyway, yeah, you see the dot coming towards you on the radar, and unless you're in a group and you know it's like a guild member, it's like something in the back of your mind just goes off and you panic. Getting buffed in cantinas, which is again something that I'm going to talk about in that video when I decide to remake it, which should be within probably this weekend, if I don't make it immediately after I'm done with this video. I mean, you have to, when you're getting your mind buff, you have to sit in front of an entertainer for like 5 minutes. So during those 5 minutes, you're basically on your toes waiting for a bounty hunter to just walk up behind you in the middle of the cantina and attack you. It is terrifying. Especially when you see somebody walk up to you and you can tell that their head is like aiming towards you, because when you target someone in galaxies, like when you have them targeted, your head kind of tracks them, and I'll show you what I'm talking about up here once I get back to the town. So say this little commoner NPC right here. You can actually tell if I have him, see how I have him targeted right here? See how my head is like aiming towards him? Even if I rotate my body, my head, as long as he's in front of me, my head stays locked on to him. When you're in a cantina as a Jedi, like say he's the Jedi, and you're watching your entertainer, and you see someone just like walk over, he's not really doing anything, and he might be standing next to you, and you can see that his head is aiming at you, yeah, GTFO. That is that's not a good sign. So yeah, that's something to look out for. Alright, so the guy that infiltrated my guild. All I remember is the guild that I had run a guild, DE, Dissident Elite, which was a rebel-only guild. We were highly active in the GCW. We had been at war with like 3 of the largest Imperial guilds on the server. Oops, did I get a mission in the wrong direction? Hold on here. That is not what I meant to do. So we were actually, I try to talk about this without bragging, but we were actually server known. Like pretty much if you were active in the GCW on our server, you probably saw us. I think we were at war with those guilds for a period of like 3 months, and during those 3 months we destroyed 23, it was either 21 or 23 Imperial bases, and only lost our two rebel bases that we had in our city. We went to Naboo, and there was a city on Naboo called Crimson Keep, which was home of one of the largest Imperial guilds on the server. I think second only to a guild called Dark, which had their base on Rory. And they had so many Imperial bases, and the bases that I'm referring to, I'm definitely going to have to make a video about base busting in the GCW. But basically, if you're part of a faction, you can spend faction points on these NPC bases, and then place these bases on the worlds, much like you would a house. And the bases, they generate NPCs of that faction, so either rebel troops, rebel commandos, or if it's an Imperial base, sometimes they'll even have ATSTs. And then you can purchase like turrets that you can set up around the base and that will defend it. And I'll get into all this when I do the video on GCW. But anyway, for now, all you need to know is like our win-loss ratio was like 21 or 23 to 2. Like we were dominating. We picked up, I think, like 60 recruits in a matter of weeks because we were so active. And it had gotten to the point where I had wanted to start personally interviewing candidates for our guild, because we were picking up so many people that we would have like monthly guild meetings, and people would show up that I didn't even know were guild members. And I didn't like that. I prefer to be, I mean, those of you that comment on my videos know that I respond to just about all the comments that you post. If anyone's ever posted a question, I've responded. So, oh crap, my mind's almost empty. Here we go. So when it had gotten to the point where my own guild had members in it that I didn't even know their names, it bothered me. So yeah, so I did this thing where anyone could like invite someone to the guild, but before they actually got approved into members, I just wanted to sit down, talk with them for like a couple minutes, tell them who I am, who we are as a guild, and kind of like, you know, what we were geared towards. So that was cool. So this person comes in. It's just me and him, and I'll be honest, I'm a little bit of a role player at heart. since I was a tailor, which I mentioned in that other video also, I had made guild uniforms for our officers, so that when we had our little meetings, we could, play dress up, if you will, and look all official. So I wasn't even in like any armor or any Jedi robes. I sat down in front of this guy and was dressed up with a weapon, or without a weapon, I'm sorry, and would just talk to the guy, basically. And he sat there and he answered all my questions. He was really patient. I was reading his bio. I saw that he was a master bounty hunter, but he had also mastered so many other professions that I wasn't sure that he might have had master bounty hunter at the time. So we go through the whole thing, and he's like, so, what other services do you have in the city? Like, they're wondering if we had a cantina, a medical facility, cloning center. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. So I ended up giving him like a tour of the city. And he's just following me around, whatever. Like, listening to everything I had to say, being all curious, being all, into it. And I'm like, huh. Alright, so, I mean, this guy, he was pretty legit. Like, I had no reason to suspect him at all. Then, he's like, alright, well, we'll talk to you later or whatever, because I had to go. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know I had to go. And he's like, well, I hear you're a Jedi, and I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, can I see, like, your lightsaber or whatever? And I was like, well, sure, I guess. So I equipped just the lightsaber. Keep in mind, I didn't equip my my Jedi robe, so I'm still wearing this this dumb uniform that had no stats on it at all. And I challenged this guy to a duel so that I could, like, just show off the lightsaber. And very important thing that you need to know when you're a Jedi is, if you challenge someone to a duel who is already able to openly attack you, instead of getting a system message that says you challenge so-and-so to a duel, it will say something along the lines of, so-and-so is not able to duel you. So, and the reason that is because they can already openly attack you. Now, when I saw that message, I, at this point, did not know about that. So I was like, hey, it's not letting me duel you. And he's like, really? That's weird. And as I'm sitting here trying to duel him and trying to figure out why it's not letting me duel him, he starts shooting at me. And I'm like, you've got to be effing kidding me. So it was crazy. And I don't think you can change equipment. I don't think you can change gear while in combat. So I literally had to fight this guy with no Jedi robes on, just the lightsaber. And it was close. I remember having to run from him a few times and heal myself. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was one of those times where my heart was beating so fast that I wish I had been filming it, but I had I didn't film videos back then, and even if I had, I don't know that I would have even thought to be filming it, because what started as such an innocent, like, guild recruiting interview just escalated so quickly. Like, you ever seen that meme? That escalated quickly. That was exactly how I felt at this moment. So it was pretty cool. So that guy gets mad respect, even though he ended up not beating me. I did kill him, though it was very, very close. Mad respect to that guy. I don't even remember his name, but I wish I did. Let's see, that's one of my favorite stories. My next favorite story is definitely when my guild was crate hunting on Tatooine. We were killing crate dragons, trying to find, like, dragon pearls and whatever. And, again, here comes a blue dot shooting straight towards me on the radar, and I'm like, great, I know what this is. Luckily, the wise Jedi will carry a small house, a deed for a small house on him at all times, because what happened, a generic small house, because what happened was, when I saw this guy coming towards me, I got on my swoop, I got on my swoop and just started driving in the opposite direction. And I don't know if he got knocked off his swoop or what happened, but maybe he thought that I was still in the group of people that I was grinding with my guild. But he stopped, and I was able to get some distance on him. And I was weaving through like a player city, and you can't place houses in galaxies in a player city unless you have zoning rights from someone on the city militia. So I had to get on the other side of the city. I finally got out of the city's like zoning area, and I was able to plop this house down. Unfortunately, if you've watched any of my videos on building houses or building structures, you'll know when you go into the building screen, it does like this top-down view, and you have to kind of rotate the building to know which way it's facing. Well, I was in such a hurry and such a panic that I didn't really have time to see which way the building was facing. And as soon as I clicked to build the house, I see on my radar he's coming at me again. So I'm like waiting for the house to show up, because there's a little bit of a delay between the time you go to build the house and when the house actually appears. And I'm like, come on, come on, come on. And the house finally appears, and I'm on the wrong side of the house. I'm behind it, and he is coming towards me from the front of the house. And if you're a Jedi and you get attacked by a bounty hunter, you get what's like a temporary enemy flag that prevents you from entering houses for 5 minutes. So I was like, I couldn't even run around to the front of the house, because by the time I had gotten around to the front, he would have been able to get a shot off on me, and I wouldn't be able to even enter my own house. So I'm up against the back of the house. I'm waiting for him to like come around and shoot me. And what does this guy do? He pulls right up to the front door of the house, gets off his speeder, and sits down in front of the front door. This guy must not have known that I wasn't in the house. He assumed that I was hiding inside, and here I am out back, completely defenseless. I wouldn't say completely defenseless, but I believe this was before the guy tried to infiltrate the guild, and I wasn't quite as strong of a Jedi at this time yet, and he definitely would have kicked my butt. It was weird. Like, we were laughing so hard. My guild, we use TeamSpeak, and I'm describing the situation to my friends on TeamSpeak, and they're dying. Well, this guy's biggest mistake, however, is he was actually bounty hunting as an overt Imperial. And what that means is he was basically an Imperial player who was flagged for PvP. Well, buddy, that right there is the reason why you didn't get me that day, because as soon as I noticed that, I called in my guildmates that I was just grinding with, which, remember, I led a rebel-only guild. They all flagged themselves for PvP and came rolling in on this guy, and it was like 10v1, and they just destroyed him. That was a pretty epic time. Oh, what else do we got? We got, oh, the rubber band guy on Endor. So I think we were doing the Death Watch bunker on Endor, which is a dungeon that another video that I'm planning on making at some point. It's a really difficult level dungeon on Endor, and my guild was standing outside the dungeon, getting ready. We were kind of like waiting for the last few people to show up, or we had an entertainer there that was buffing us. And as we're outside, here comes that blue dot that's not part of my group. Fortunately, well, I shouldn't say fortunately, it is possible when you're in a high trafficked area that you're going to get people driving around near you, but this guy was coming right towards me. So I'm hopped on my vehicle, I start driving into the woods, just being the paranoid Jedi that I was. And it was a good thing that I did, because as I drive off into this woods, that blue dot on my radar comes swooping towards me and is following me now through the woods. So it was literally like a scene out of Return of the Jedi. Like, I'm on my swoop, he's on his swoop, and he's following me through the woods on Endor, and I'm like trying to get him stuck on tree branches as I, swerve through trees. And if you guys could see my web camera right now, I'm doing hand motions with my hand as if I was flying a speeder bike. So yeah, ignore me, I'm a nerd. Anyway, this guy actually follows me all the way back to the starport, because I figured if I can get to the starport, I had gotten pretty good at choosing my starship and traveling to a different planet. I figured if I could get there, get inside, fly to a different planet real quick, he wouldn't know which starport I landed on, and he would have a hard time following me. unfortunately, he was getting really close behind me, and you know, it wasn't looking like, even if I had gotten there, that I would lose him. He was so close behind me that he was within attack range. It's just if he had gotten off his bike to attack me, if he didn't destroy my bike in like the first shot, then I would have gotten out of range. So he knew that. So he was still following me on his vehicle. And this was one of the only times where I was so glad that Galaxies is a buggy game, because when we pulled up to this starport, I rubber banded so hard that it actually teleported me about 200 meters backwards. And what that allowed, that actually put me behind him. Like, it was the most amazing bug that I've ever witnessed in a game. It was like, oh my god, this guy is right on my tail, and then right for, like, in a split second, I am nowhere, not only am I nowhere near him, but I am now behind him. And he came to a complete stop. Like, he was so confused, he didn't know what to do. So I turned around and I started driving towards the other starport, because luckily there are 2 starports on Endor. And he actually, once he figured out what was going on, he started chasing me again. But I had such a lead on him that this time I was actually able to make it to that starport and escape before he caught up to me. I mean, these stories, they're like war stories to me. I remember these things, most of them, except for the finer details, like they happened, you know, last week. It was really fun. And those are pretty much the 3 that I remember the most of. There were others, and I definitely died more than once. You have to take it in stride. I mean, when you're a Jedi and you're being hunted by other players that have the element of surprise, you're gonna get caught off guard. The house precaution is one that you need to take. Keeping your eye on your radar is a precaution you need to take. Watching people's heads when you're in public places is a precaution you need to take. And honestly, I mean, I guess it might be kind of silly. See, I don't know if you're flagged for PvP, and if someone on the other faction, this is something you guys can comment on and answer. I have a question for you. If you're flagged for PvP, say I'm a rebel and I'm over, and an Imperial bounty hunter wants to attack me, if he attacks me with the bounty hunter mission, since I'm flagged for PvP, would that flag him also? Or would it not, because he's a bounty hunter and he's able to attack me through that system? See, I don't think it would flag him. I think it would leave him covert since he's got the bounty hunter mission. But you guys can comment and let me know what you think. Let me know which of these stories was your favorite, which of those you would have liked to have been there to see, how you would have reacted to certain situations. If anyone else has any stories, any bounty hunter stories they want to share, feel free to. It is definitely good to be making videos again, and I will definitely have some more up soon. I'll try to get another one done this weekend. See if I can't remake that episode 9. But for now, thanks for watching this. Thanks for listening to me talk to myself over and over again. But yeah, keep watching. May the Force be with you.